Morning.
Good morning, good morning. Now, are you outside or are you in the...
I'm in the Conservatory, but it's very sunny.
Yes.
Complete blue sky, not a cloud in view.
Well, can't quite say that because we've got the mist.
Okay, well, atmosphere.
So it does. And it's very September, it's very autumn and that sort of thing. And hang on, I haven't turned my lights on. I need to turn my lights on. I'm in the dark, I'm in the shade. It'll be better in a minute. It's so bright in here that I didn't even notice. But of course, you can't see me so well without the lights on, at least a little bit. So, we've got September mist every morning. It's beautiful.
Yes, I thought we had autumn. The mornings and the evenings have been that really nice kind of chill crisp. But today we have predicted temperatures like, you would expect in the height of summer. So it's all mad.
Yeah.
It's all mad.
Well, it's all moving, isn't it? So there it is. And that's how it is. But yeah, we've only got it for about, I think it's going to be reasonably cool on Thursday.
Yeah, I think this is just a kind of last hurrah, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think if it keeps up with the sunshine, which it is saying it might do, I'm very happy with that. Because, I love the sun. And I've missed it.
Autumn now, or it's autumn. Autumn is, I think, my favourite season. It's such a lovely time of the year.
And it's going to, some of my trees are already starting to, yellow.
Right, yes. Yeah, their local ones are. There's even a few crunchy leaves on the floor already.
Haven't quite got that far, but we've certainly got... No, it's certainly got some colour on. Some of the elders are just like sort of moving into a rather lovely yellow. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
That's the guard dog, because the front door's just opened. Because they'd be terrified of him, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. I can quite understand that. Mind you, well, I suppose no, because his bark's a bit high, isn't it? So he's small.
It is when you don't know what he is. It can be quite intimidating. I think he has got, Rottweiler syndrome or something. That's what he thinks he is anyway.
Well, he'd probably make a mess of your ankles if he didn't like you. So. But it's not like, you open the door and you've got this large wolf sort of just tucked under your arm kind of thing.
I have just had a coffee delivered, thank you. I have a caramel latte delivered. That's what we like.
Oh, not too bad at all. No, I haven't got one of those. I decided I'd leave that until afterwards, and then I might actually go and sit outside for a little bit.
Yes, it is very nice out there. I think we're going to take Eric down to the seaside later.
I just got, when you said that, I just got the smell of the sea. I haven't had that for so long. I'm looking forward to that in October when we go to Norfolk, because we are going to the beach just for a day.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the North Sea. So it's going to be really like, this is different.
Yeah. Get a different energy from it, don't you?
Yeah. And we're going to, after we've messed about being Stone Age with Will Lord, recommended, anybody go, please, it's great fun. But after that, we're going up to Hunstanton, which is where the sea henge was found.
Oh, right. Yes.
And since we're only, about an hour away from it Wills, it's sort of like, and it's been on Fiona's and my bucket list forever. It's sort of like, no.
I have the book that was written about. It's in my to read pile. It does look fascinating.
Well, I followed it ever since I first saw it was found, which must have been not long after it was found, which is, I think it was 2011 or something. Not terribly long ago.
No.
And I thought, oh my God. And when I saw what they'd done, like with the huge great oak pylons that make up the circle, and in the middle is this upturned oak tree.
Right.
And I was just, at the time, I was doing stuff on oak trees and things. I think I was probably doing Trees of the Goddess or something.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I went, and I was doing things about the world tree, and our world tree, which would be oak, whereas the Norse one is ash, of course, because of the different climate, different place, and that sort of thing. And I found something and I cannot remember where now, in an old story probably, or something like that, about the roots reaching to the heavens and the branches reaching down to Mother Earth.
Right. Yes.
And then this turns up, and I'm sitting there going, my God, we smacked. I said, oh my God, yeah, and I'm sure it was something in like a story or something.
Yeah.
And so then you actually find, 4,000-year-old, when we did it, you sort of go, oh my God.
Mm. Yeah, it's all fascinating, isn't it? It's just, well, I never liked history at school, but now that I'm a grown up, it is fascinating.
I was quite good at history because I had a history mistress that I liked, but I didn't like the history.
No,
it was all sort of wars and battles,
yes.
and dates and politics and prime ministers, and I thought, this is so boring.
I suppose it's such a big subject, isn't it, that they do have to pick specific little areas to focus on. But both my kids have done Second World War, Tudors. They seem to pick kind of odd sections out of it, I guess.
It still seems to be sort of quite politically motivated history, which is understandable, if you want to bring up your children to vote party line or whatever, whichever party line it happens to be. But
they're all as bad as each other, as far as
I don't know. There isn't anything to vote for, as far as I'm concerned, which quite upsets me, because my great aunt was one of the women who got the women's vote.
Right.
And so I'm there sort of going, I'm really sorry, Aunt Ursula, but I can't vote. There is not anything to vote for, dear. I am. The only thing I can do is go down there and ruin my paper, which I have done a couple of times. But no, it isn't. But I mean, that sort of history still doesn't. It's like, oh yeah, My husband quite enjoys some of it, and I'm there sort of like, turn it off or put the headphones on or something like that. But
I think
when you get down to this old stuff of ours, like what you're doing with the Goddess.
Yeah. And there's some areas that I think the children should learn about. The Second World War in particular, I think, is important, because what happened there shaped how we are now. And my grandfather was on the D-Day landings. My husband's stepdad was on the Lancaster bombers. It's all relative to how we are living our lives now. And I think that's really important and shouldn't be forgotten. But I think we should be learning about the history of the land that we're living on as well. I think we should learn about our ancestors.
Yeah,
listing all of Henry VIII's queens, which I can never do.
I can do the old rhyme: divorced, divorced, beheaded, died; divorced, beheaded, survived. I can do that one.
My kids know them because there's a children's TV program, Horrible Histories, and they loved it. It's funny, and they do songs and they do sketches and things, all historically accurate, but it helps the kids remember all of the stuff. So my kids do. But I think there are more important areas of history that really we should be learning about personally.
I do. And I think when you get into things like, going over to Norfolk, I mean, we shall be right next door to Doggerland, which is now the Dogger Bank, because it sunk. Well, you got, a hell of a lot of water come over it. And I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that was part of the bridge. So you could actually walk from where we both are to, say, Rome or India or wherever without having to cross the sea. And that's wow.
We are inundated. For the tiny little island that we are, we have such a huge variety and source of historic sites, don't we? I have no idea why they don't study all of that. It would be fascinating. Well, the kids might not find it fascinating. I don't know, but it seems important rather than learning about Henry's wives. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, or who was prime minister, or what the government was saying, and how the opposition did such and such, and sort of thing. Wake me up when it's over.
Learn about the land.
Absolutely. And I mean, you get and things like the program Time Team has done and is doing again, and kids love it. And they're in there saying, oh, look, I found this bone. Oh, look, I found this. Is this a piece of pottery? And so, when they've gone on with the Time Team, they've actually had this kid pulling a piece of Anglo-Saxon pottery out of the earth.
Oh,
that's a thrill.
We've got Fishbourne Roman Palace near us, and we took the children there as kids quite often because they ran day events where they had reenactments and things. The kids got covered in woad tattoos and dressed up like ancient Celts or Romans, and they got them all involved in it, and it was fantastic, and they absolutely loved it. My son had so many wooden swords and shields and Roman helmets from every single time we visited a castle or an ancient thing. He's got a huge collection. He's a bit
when I was at university learning to be a teacher, actually, and we had to go and do teaching practice, as of course I think you still do. Anyway, my last year, my third year, did a school in a little village in North Devon, and you went. I know how they do it now, but we used to get a theme because you were there for a month,
right?
And it's get a theme, and everything you do, try and do it around this theme. And so I chatted with the class teacher like before, which you do. You go and have a chat with them and see the kids and all that kind of thing. And he said, well, it'd be really useful if you did something around 1066. So I said, yeah, okay, we can do that. And it actually got quite fascinating. But the bit that I was thinking of was I don't like them anymore now, but at the time I liked castles.
Right.
And my favourite castle was Restormel down in Cornwall, which there's still quite a lot of it standing, and you can really see it. And I got a lot of photographs of it. And so I said, well, how about we, the class, split class in two, and we build 2 Restormel castles out of cardboard and whatever we've got.
Yeah.
And okay. We managed to bring maths into that, because they had to work out how big the stones were so they could draw them on the cardboard, and how big the actual area of the castle was. And they were really surprised at how big it was. Kind of thing. Because they were trying to build this sort of little thing, and it's not way like there. And all sorts of stuff like that. And then we brought it across to I can't remember. It's either the Aztec or the Maya. There's a one of those, which is about the same time as 1066.
Right.
And so over here we were doing that, and over there we were doing that.
Right.
And they were really thrilled. They were about 10 or 11, and they were really
now. It sounds fab.
I enjoyed it. They enjoyed it.
I might do that this afternoon.
Absolutely. Perhaps I should do this as workshops for adults now.
Definitely. I think you've hit on something there.
It's just so like, but this is really interesting. And the teacher liked it and the kids liked it. And why can't we do stuff like that? Because then you're not even stuck in your own little island. There's not all that much about, well, there was about politics, because it's like, why did the Normans build these castles?
Yeah.
And since we were in North Devon, and a lot of the kids were at least half Celtic. I mean, we're a mongrel lot, but, they were quite a Celtic lot down there. And it was sort of like, they put them up and they painted them white. They painted them white? Yes, they did. And so what do you think you'd have felt? I said, well, big, miss, wouldn't it? It'd be right up there, And you go, yes. I said, how would you feel? I said, scared. Yeah, that's why they did it. So, I was a bloody anarchist even when I was teaching 11-year-olds when I was 21. But I mean, that is actually coming out more in sort of history programs on TV. This wasn't sort of this, at last we were taken over by the Norman race who, enabled us to become properly civilized. It's now getting like, bloody Norman bastards, and which of course he was, because he was called William the Bastard.
Well,
and it was a title in those days,
Yes.
It wasn't just a nasty. And why can't we do things like that? Because
I
it
would
would be
be straight there.
so much more fun.
I can't remember doing anything like that at school, to be fair, either. I don't. I didn't mind school, actually. I did quite like school, so I think I probably like the social side of it more than the actual work, but
I'm quite the other way around. I enjoyed the work and I did not enjoy the social side of it, because most of the kids and I had practically nothing in common.
Right.
And if all you were interested in was, most of them were sort of interested in, the dance and the social side and the boyfriends and all that sort of thing. Yeah. I got a pony. You coming to the dance tonight? No, I'm going out for a ride. What? It's like, let me out of here. I enjoyed some of the work.
I didn't like maths. I've never liked maths, but
it's a shame, because I think I would if I was taught it now, because Paul's a mathematician, and the way he talks about it and teaches it, and used to go, and I've done some university maths and things since then, and you go, God, I never had this at school. This is actually fun.
It's quite different now. That is quite different. Even just sort of doing your division or your times they've got completely different systems for doing things now.
Some of which
did her, oh, absolutely. My daughter did her GCEs 2 years ago, and she would we'd sit with the revision books for an hour after school every day, and we'd go through them. And I'm so glad they had the answers in the back of the book, because I wouldn't have had a clue otherwise. Thankfully, my son's doing his exams this coming year. He's quite happily to do his revision on his own. So I've been
you're led off
for that, because his brain power is way above mine. I'm, left in the dust.
But I do think that if maths, and I mean, Paul always said this because he was a teacher too, and he was a maths teacher. And he'd also, before he went to college and all that sort of thing, he'd done all the particle physicist stuff, and so he was very good. And so he sort of took all that to school, and you can make make it fun, like with the castles kind of thing. Yeah. And like, this is why this is useful in life, not sort of like learning something blank that you go, when am I ever going to use this?
The teacher does make a difference, doesn't it? Really. I mean, I remember the teachers that I liked. I remember the teachers that I didn't get on.
Yeah.
But it it does make a difference to the learning, doesn't it? And that goes from everything. When I think not just schooling, but the other courses and learning and spiritual stuff that I've done. If someone's just standing there reading stuff at me, then I'm not going to take it in. But if I'm being involved, or if it's got a bit of interaction with it, you're going to pick up on stuff more, aren't you?
You are. And if somebody sort of shows you how it can be useful to you.
Yeah.
You know, like arithmetic is actually handy, because then you can work out whether the bloke's giving you the right change. Is it a motivation?
Although I'm not sure we'll be getting much change going forward in the future.
We don't know. No,
money's probably a thing of the past almost, isn't it?
It is almost, But even so, you know, there's all sorts of things you can say that, you know, this is actually useful to you. You know, you need to know
I'm probably never going to use algebra, but
I don't live the sort of life. You don't live the sort of life you need algebra, really.
I can't imagine where I'd ever use that. But yeah, that's basic stuff. And I wish they would teach things like bank accounts and paying bills and overdrafts and stuff like that to kids. That would be useful, far more useful than algebra. But
well, yeah. I must admit, I mean, I don't know whether you had this with pocket money, but I sort of got it with pocket money from the start. Sort of like, you know, well, you're doing, you know, you've got this much. Dad, you know, I want a new so and so or something, and sort of like, well, how much pocket money have you got? Oh, have you saved any up?
So yes.
How much is whatever it is you want? So how many weeks pocket money is that? And are you willing to go without sweets in order to have the new whatever it was you wanted, sort of thing? So I got an awful lot of it that way.
Yes.
And
I did. Yeah. If you wanted it, you had to save for it.
Yeah.
Which I was really rubbish at. I still am. But yeah, we've done the same. We've done the same with their kids. They both had, you know, they have allowances, and you have to cover this, that, and the other with it. And if you haven't got it, then you have to save up for it, or earn it is another thing. You know, chores.
That was the other thing. Yeah. So I mean, it sort of got me into things like looking after my uncle's chickens. And you know, and I would get extra for that, and I would go and get the milk from the farm every night, and I'd bring the cows home for them in the evening after school, and you got extra money, you know, you got another shilling. I mean, it was only about a shilling in those days, but a shilling was quite worthwhile in those days. And but you got extra for going and doing things, or you know, Mrs. So-and-so wanted some help with such and such, and, you know, she'd give you a shilling for that. So you could actually start working out about this exchange thing.
Yeah. Well, it's experiences, isn't it? It's teaching you about life. And I think that is the culture today. Quite a lot of it seems to want instant. I want this now, and I want it right in front of me, and I don't want to have to work for it. And that goes again across the board for everything. And I'm including spiritual stuff in this as well. Everything takes work, effort, and experience.
Absolutely, it does.
These want things instantly, and it doesn't work like that.
And the other one I get, which you probably get a bit too, you know, I mean, usually you try and sort of like, whoa, go away then if you're like that, is sort of like, oh, but you know, you can make me able to see with my third eye or something. No.
Yeah, give me 10 minutes.
No, I mean, the temptation to turn them into a toad at that point comes on quite strong, except the fact that I like toads, so I don't.
Well, yeah, that would be cool with a toad, yeah.
But it's like, no, you know, and I don't like that. And also, you know, they don't think that your time and your effort and your work of learning all this stuff for probably most of your life is worth anything.
Oh, do you know, that's the bit I hate the most, is setting prices for things. I find that probably one of the most difficult things to do, because you do, don't you? You have to value your own time, your own effort, your own input, not just the stuff that the time and effort you've taken to write the course, the book, the whatever.
Which takes time, guys.
Yeah, of course. But the going forward stuff as well. If you're running a course, it's going to be your time moving forward as well, isn't it? And I actually struggle really. I find that really difficult to put a price label on that. I think it's one of the most difficult things, or things I find most difficult to do. I probably undersell myself all the time.
And it is hard work. I've got better at it. I'm finding it. I'm still feeling my way with it with the webinars, because I'm used to it with the one-to-one courses, or the, the group courses where I've got physical people around and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the ordinary online courses. I can do that. It's just valuing a webinar is still hard. And so I still go around keeping on looking at everybody else, whether they're doing spiritual stuff or whether it's sort of writing or wildlife or whatever. I go around looking at them. What are you doing? How are you doing this?
Yeah.
Because
some of the prices are wildly different, though, aren't they? They do range from, oh, that's really cheap, to whoa.
Yeah, they do. And I find that very difficult too. And I mean, there's things like, oh, you've just got 3 hours work for £5 is sort of like, pardon?
That would be me going, yeah, have it for free. I am rubbish at
it. It's sort of like, no, not if it's a webinar and you've got them and you're talking to them and you're getting them involved and you're doing them exercises and all that sort of thing. It's sort of like, no, you wouldn't expect that if we were actually all in the same room doing this course. So, this is the same sort of thing, and you are going to do it and you are going to get the effort. And it's still, I've done some already because I'm using the technique with the students now, and it's quite hard work online, just as it is when you're actually physically there with them.
Yes.
And
it's the stuff you don't see as well, though, isn't it? I decided to have a major website overhaul for my sins. I spent all day yesterday just sorting out images to use. That was like all day. I've got a basic skeleton structure to start with, and that's taken me all day. So that's just setting up a web thing. It is all the hidden stuff, isn't it, that people don't see that you do behind the scenes, all the research and all the reading and all the pulling it all together and all the little stuff that gets done behind the scene,
and the extra notes that you've actually got beside you, that all the things that you have thought of, and the blank sheet of paper that you've got beside you for all the things that they think of to tell you about. No, do that. No, do that. This sort of thing. Or we're going to be doing that in there, sort of thing. So when you're actually going there, you're not just being an automaton talking into the machine. You're actually listening to them, watching. As you still have to do, which is okay with Zoom, you can do it. You've got sort of half a dozen of them, and you can watch everybody's face, and you've got to do it to see what's actually going on with them, just the same as you would as if they're in the room. And you're always watching everybody in the room to make sure how it's going down. Because some people won't say when it's well, exactly. But some people won't say when they don't understand. But they give a visual tell. Their face will tell.
Yes.
And so you've got to go around and say, Susan, what was that about?
Yeah.
Did you get that sort of thing? Or shall we go over that again, Susan? And you're still doing that on webinars.
Yeah. I think the other thing I struggle with as well, from the payment point of view, when I first got asked to go and give a talk at one of the festivals, I was petrified, but really excited. But I ended up driving for an hour and a half to get there, paying for parking, doing the talk for an hour, and then driving for an hour and a half home for nothing.
No.
I think a lot of people don't realise that there are a lot of speakers at these festivals and events that don't actually get paid at all. Some of them do pay travel expenses. But I think you I thought then, and I still think now, I'm not well known enough, so I just do it free. I don't deserve money, you know.
You are well known enough. Shut up, you're a woman. Yes, you can.
But I am starting to have to think about it now, because I am, and thank you to everyone that invites me, but I am getting invited to things further afield now. So it might be a 4-hour drive away, which means I'm not going to drive there and back. So I need to stay over. So I am starting now to say that'd be brilliant, but I will need you to cover some costs for me. And most of them are, really good about it. And so they should be, because they're charging. If you charge a price for them to get people to get in the door, then guys, you do need to be paying your speakers. It is only fair. But when I first started out, I was completely oblivious to all that, and it was costing me a fortune.
Yeah, I understand that. I know that. And you've got this sort of, well, I'm nobody in particular, as you were just saying. And hopefully you do know this now. You are somebody in particular, and you are somebody
a couple of
people look up to. Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, a couple, and add a 0 or 3 on the end. Yeah. And if you're driving like sort of 3 hours and then doing a 2-hour talk and then driving 3 hours, which I wouldn't do either. No, sorry, mate, I've got to stay. That's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Of your time. That's a whole day.
Yeah.
When
time,
you're not doing other things, you're doing things which are actually quite tiring, because surprise, surprise, to give a talk is actually quite tiring.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, there's all the stuff beforehand, isn't there? There's the preparing beforehand, what you're going to talk about. I don't generally work as a script, but I make notes, and I, quite often have interactive things with me. So
exactly. Yeah. And I was doing that for Mercian on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
It was great. But I thought, I know I need a format, and it's all online. So to sit and watch me for an hour is probably going to kill everybody.
It is a different way of thinking, isn't it? You do have to,
yeah. And so I did a little PowerPoint to go with it. And I think it worked very well, because it was giving people pictures, and I was talking, and there were some notes on the page as well. So that there were some points that they can take. Something that I've learned with webinars too is that, of course, you can do screen save on everybody on a slide as it goes past.
Right.
So, and I've done that on a couple of the wildlife ones, and they've had really good slide. And I can't write all that out. So you go, quick, print screen. And you got it. And then you can go back and you go, no, they're saying, yeah. Because they're talking a lot more than what's on the little slide. But the slide's got the pointers.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can do that. And so hopefully people have got that and worked it. But that took me 3 days.
Yeah.
And not flat out all day, because your brain would be zigzag. But
you have to have a break.
So I'd go off and do the garden, or go for a walk, or do something, and then come back, and the brain would have chugged over, and I'd have some more ideas. But like you were saying about the pictures for the website, it was like, I need a picture for this. Where do I get that? What do I put into the Google thing to see whether there's a picture that will do this? And there was one point near the beginning where we were talking like the problems of rewilding and the problems that have got us to needing rewilding sort of things. And one of them is the me point, which we've talked about quite a bit. Everything's about me. And the other side of that,
well, of course it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. But so I thought, well, it's all very well just saying that, but it's much better if I can get a picture. So I ended up that I found this lovely picture of a sort of hazy view, but this person holding a lens up, and you could really see clearly through the lens. I'm like, yeah, that's one side. On the other side, I managed to find this picture of this quite pretty girl doing a selfie. And together it sort of goes, oh yeah.
Yes,
Now I know what you're talking about.
Says it all, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they say it tells 1,000 words, isn't it?
Well, it is true, actually. It does help enormously. But it took me, an hour to find those two pictures,
the right
at
one.
least.
Yeah.
Because you should look, oh, that's sort of all right. And think, no, that's sort of all right. No, that's not really doing it. And then all of a sudden you get them and you go, yes, that's saying what I want to say.
Nailed it.
And it just takes the time. And I think that since, I would love to be in the, Jean-Luc Picard era where the money was no problem. There was no money. You did whatever you really wanted to do and you were truly motivated to do it and all that sort of thing. I would love to be there. That is fantastic. I think that's how it should be.
I don't want to be wearing his spandex outfit, though.
And the costumes were like, oh, please. I still love the stories and I still adore Jean-Luc Picard, but you do look at the costumes and you go, and with an awful lot of them, you look at them and you think, you shouldn't be wearing that.
Not overly flattering.
No, and it takes me back to one of the old sayings, which I'm sure wouldn't be allowed now, but I'm going to say it anyway, is, somebody walking away from you who really shouldn't be wearing that tight. And it looks like two ferrets fighting in a bag.
Yeah, or two hippos in a sack.
Yeah, you just go, right. But that's part.
We're allowed to say it about ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, well, I definitely don't wear clothes like that because I should not.
I will for everybody wearing whatever you want to wear. Hey, whatever makes you feel comfortable and powerful.
Absolutely.
And confident. But no, I won't be wearing lycra anytime soon.
No. I definitely won't be. I used to, and I'm sure you did, and we both looked absolutely stunning in it.
Back in the
80s. But not now. Definitely not.
My husband used to wear it back in the 80s on stage.
Well, my husband's never worn lycra, I don't think. Oh, yes, he did. When he was coming, he started to come to dance classes with me for a while, but it's really not him. And he had the figure. He looked good in it. And he was one of the few men who's actually got legs instead of sticks or lumps. But he didn't go for him, so he didn't do it. But that sort of thing. But no, we're not in that Jean-Luc Picard era. Mm-hmm. I've got to pay rent. I've got to pay council tax. I've got to pay for this. I've got to pay for that. Yeah. And people won't take a course in spirituality for me for the groceries. They just
could try bartering, but I don't think the council would do a swap, would they?
No, you just can't get them to swap on this kind of thing. And so, we both need the money in order to pay those sort of bills that enable us to still be able to carry on writing the books or doing the courses or whatever it is that we're doing. So it's a form of exchange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I quite agree with you. I mean, I've seen some courses, and particularly unfortunately in America, and you look at the prices and you sort of go, I need a second mortgage for that.
Yes.
And
I think unfortunately Glastonbury's a bit guilty for that too.
Oh, it's very guilty of that.
You think, how many zeros?
Yeah. And what am I actually getting for this?
Yes.
And I've got no objection to people asking me that. And I mean, my students usually do because they're fairly bright. It's sort of like, well, okay, but so what are we going to do? What am I getting? What's going to actually happen? And I explain it. And they sort of go, oh, yeah, that's fine. And so, it all works out because you are exchanging something.
Yeah.
And you're getting something back for your exchange. And
It's
that's
like
important
artists
too.
too, isn't it? I see artists quite a lot saying,
Yes.
People keep asking me to do a sketch for free. It's just, no, it's not. It's time, it's talent, it's skill.
And how long do you think it took me to learn to do that sketch, which is going to take me 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And there's a lovely sort of Zen come Picasso-y sort of one. There's have you seen Picasso's cat?
No.
Oh,
I'm missing out on
it is
something
gorgeous.
there.
It is gorgeous. Hang on a minute. I will try and find it. Anyway, it wasn't Picasso, but it's somebody like that. And this person sort of said, well, will you do me a simple sketch of a cat? And so the person said, yes. And I can't find it. I will find it.
Set it as a challenge for people to find it. Picasso's cat.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will to do that sort of thing. But it should be in here somewhere, which is, yes, there it is. And you'll see it in a minute. I'll share it up. Where am I? Who am I? What's my name? I don't know. Sharing. Share screen.
Technology.
It's so weird because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it.
I'm never sure what I'm doing about anything.
I'm fine with. Have we got it?
There you go.
There. That's really simple.
I like that. It's
totally cat, isn't it?
That's a cat, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. It is absolutely totally cat. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 lines in that. And he would literally be able to whop that off in a minute.
Well, I wouldn't, but
no, he would, I said. And it's sort of like, yay. So, well, that didn't take you very long. He said, no, it took me 15 years to learn how to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the point. Yes, I mean, as I'm sure you can. Somebody sort of says, oh, can you show me a spell for so-and-so or something? Or can you show me how to, contact your time plant or something? Which might take a bit longer. But depending on the person. But yes, you can do that. But how long did it take you to learn that?
Yeah. No shortcut to experience.
No, there isn't. There isn't. And so, do try and understand that you are talking to people who, even if you disagree with them, they have spent a long time learning what they do.
Oh, yeah. Even after years of experience, you don't always get things right. Or, well, I know I don't. And we've talked about learning from mistakes before, haven't we? So...
Yeah. And we're both still learning.
Oh, absolutely.
We haven't stopped learning.
It'd be boring. It would be boring if we didn't have anything.
That sort of might pass me the gun, but no, I couldn't bear it. If things stop being new for me, then I don't want to be around.
Yeah.
I want new, or I want what I've got, but I want and this and that, and this tree's doing it this way. Like we were saying at the beginning, that some of the trees have already started to go yellow. This is different. So what about it? What's happening? Talk to the tree, find out more about it, etc. Whatever. But
the trees, they change every year, don't they? But each year you learn something different from it, or it does it in a slightly different way, or a slightly different time, or even though it's the cycle happening again, you still learn something from it each time.
It's not something that just goes round and round and round with no changes. It's continuously changing. And this happens with all of us. And I mean, I'm sure it happens with your courses, doesn't it? That, the way you taught it 5 years ago is not how you teach it today.
Oh, no, we constantly update the main witchcraft course that we run,
Yeah.
which is the big course. Every so often I go through the whole lot, and there's a lot. I think there's 58 lessons or something like that. We'll go through them and update and edit, and particularly if I'm writing a book about something and that subject is in one of the lessons, I'll update it from there. So yes, the lessons as they are now, and next year is 10 years for the school having been open. So yeah, the lessons that they were originally are nothing like they are now.
No.
Always evolving.
I'm the same, and I always evolve them every year, partly because the students I've got this year are not the same as the students I had last year.
Oh, times change too, don't they? And the way of doing things as well changes to a certain degree as well.
And I'm not the same person I was last year.
No.
And so, I won't be able to. I suppose that's it, really, because neither of us sort of have a rote that we give out every time we're talking to somebody. And I don't really get on with people who teach that way at all. I can't learn from them.
I don't, even when I give a talk, I don't have a script. I will have notes, but even if I talk about the same subject, it comes out different every single time.
Every time, absolutely.
Yeah, particularly if there's an audience, because you get that interaction and different people give you different points of view or ask different questions, don't they? That makes it fun.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's also useful because people, I get people who go back over my blogs and things like that, and I'm sure you do, and your lives and things like that, because you've got them recorded, and people say, "Oh, I was going back to the one you did last year on this. It's really interesting with the one you did last night," and you sort of go, "Thank you, good." Yeah. That was really helpful, because not the same.
I think particularly with my witchcraft practice too, when I first started out, it was Wicca, because that was all really there was subject matter to learn from, because it was before the internet. So that's where my pathway started. It isn't where it is now, although my basis started in that, and probably the basics of a lot of the stuff I do stemmed from the structure of Wicca. It's certainly not what I am now. So it's always evolving and changing, and and I think that's how it should be, really.
I do too, and I get so a different thing, but it is the same. I've always loved Morris dancing. I think we talked about it before.
I love it. I've always loved it, even as a child.
Absolutely, same here. But some of them, and I see it mostly in the Cotswold sides. They're the handkerchief guys, and they do everything exactly the same as their grandfather did 30 years ago.
Right.
And then I watch people like the Wicker Men at Mercia or something, or the Beltane Morris lot, or some of the sort of more wild groups, which are usually the border sides.
Yeah.
And they do the same dances, and they have got the same moves, because a lot of the moves are actually ritual, aren't they? They're actually
there's like meaning to it.
The circle both ways and coming in and making crossover, and then the up and the down, and they're all that's there. But they do it differently, and they'll do it differently next week to how they did it last week.
Right.
And I think, and they get, well, they don't so much now, but they used to at the beginning when they really sort of started going wild again, which was about 20 odd years ago. They got told off for it.
Oh, right.
They get told off for it by the I can't remember what the Morris Union lot is called. Anyway, they get told off for it by them. As elders of the institution. And,
Morris dancing rebels. I like it.
Oh, they were. Yeah, they really were. And a friend of mine who started one of the...
That would be me.
He started the Silurian, or he was part of the beginning of the Silurian side, which must be nearly 25 years ago. And he's written a book about it, which is very good. And they really did get, they're almost sort of shunned and not allowed to come to the union and this sort of thing, and put in the naughty corner kind of thing. And it was like, oh my God, really? And they kept going, and everything, has come through. But it's amazing, isn't it? You there's a whole crowd of people who say you have to be exactly the same.
I think that particularly, I guess, it's tradition, isn't it? So there is a very long tradition of Morris dancing, and like you say, a lot of it has ritualistic meaning or folklore story. It's all got meaning to it. So I can understand that. We've got to stick to the traditions, but then, like we've just been saying, people evolve, things evolve. So yeah, you to a certain degree you have to move stuff with the times, but still hold on to that history.
You do hold on to that basic, like you said, that you still have the basic that you absolutely grew from starting with Wicker, but it's not the same now, and the world isn't the same. The people around us aren't the same, and if you actually bother to go and ask other world, they don't actually want flower pots churned out.
No,
they actually want things to fit.
I'm just really pleased that it's still going. I think Morris dancing is one of our traditions that we need to keep going. So if it involves bringing newcomers in by switching it up a bit, then I'm all for it, rather than allowing it to die out. It's something I think we need to encourage, definitely. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't remember all the steps.
I would love to do it, but there is absolutely no way I could do it. And yes, I'd remember the steps, but then I've got a dance background, so you do it twice and it's in your body.
Right. That's not me.
And that's something that happens with experience. Actually, that's something you learn by doing. But the other thing that's happened with the Wildies in Morris is, I mean, there's a lovely one from a few years back of the Beltane doing Beltane at Haytor, a Haytor on Dartmoor, and they're calling Otherworld, and they're deliberately doing this as part of the whole ritual, and they've got hundreds of people around them, and they're all joining in.
Yeah.
When I've been down to All Hallows for Samhain, they call the dead,
and
in the evening as the dark comes down and before the horses come out, and they bring the whole thing in, and they get people. One of the ways they do it is because we're all standing around in a huge, great 12 deep circle. Now, just you look at the person on your left, and if it's somebody you don't know, if it isn't, look at the person on your right, and look at somebody who you don't know and say hello to them, and say, you're saying hello. He said, now, just tell them ever so quickly about somebody that you remember from your past who you want to say thank you to tonight at the ritual.
Right.
And people do it.
Excellent.
And it's like, that's all you need. And the people need this, I want to say thank you to Auntie Hilda kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was doing it with one little, I was next to this little kid about 6, 7. And so she grabbed my hand and said, hello, I'm Sophie or whatever. And, hello, I'm Ellen. And who do you want to remember, Ellen? She says. So I said, I'm remembering my mummy. And I got
bless her.
On my mummy. And I said, who are you remembering, Sophie? She was remembering her cat.
And why not?
But it was so perfect because she actually teared up.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet. I was sort of holding her hand saying, that's really good, and helping her, looking. I've never seen her before in my life, never saw her again. But she's not going to forget that. And I obviously haven't forgotten it.
No.
And they do this. And I think the Wicker Men do it as well. and probably lots of other sides do. They bring people in and they sort of say, this is what our old folk did, and this is how and why, and it's really simple. And so people stop thinking, we all sort of roast babies on Saturday nights or something. You just can't get an organic one nowadays. It's really hard.
Sacrificial
one. But they start getting to realize that actually it's all about people and caring and being together and not hating each other and not being
it's lack of knowledge. It's lack of knowledge, isn't it? We've done open rituals at a local country park, and quite often we've had people walk past walking their dogs. Actually, quite often we haven't had a ritual yet where someone's dog hasn't run right through the middle of it with an irate dog walker running across the field to get them back. But quite often they stop. And they watch, and you can see them listening and paying attention to see what's. And we've even had people asked to join in before now, which is brilliant.
We have, we have. When I've done it, and the oddest people that you'd never think.
And a lot of them have no idea.
Yes, of course, come in, and you do, because this is what Otherworld want. They want it. They want people to come back to this way of thinking. Not that they want you to give up your mobile phone or even your car or something, but they want people to come back to thinking with them.
Yeah, to be connected
with them.
Yeah, it's all about connection, isn't it?
It is. It is very, very much. I have to ask, you have paw prints up that door behind you.
They are. It's a very, very old. I think it was painted about 20 years ago. They are stars.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
No, they're very old. Very old. But that will.
I've been getting visions of Eric walking up it,
dipping him in the paint,
and then plonking him in. I mean, this is the modern version of cave art. Come on.
This is my new interior design.
Well, we used to sort of stick our hands on the wall and blow paint around the edge of that. Now we stick our dogs in the paint and stick the dog paw on them.
That wall will actually be coming down, so it hasn't been decorated for a very long time.
Well, there's absolutely no point now, is there? So
no,
I could not resist that. I'm sorry. I've been watching them, for an hour now, and I'm there going, I'm sure that's Eric.
I love that idea, though. I absolutely love that idea.
Well, do share it around, because I'm sure your son would think it was pretty crazy as well. Brilliant. Portsmouth cave art. That's what it is. It's Portsmouth cave art.
I hate to think what Portsmouth cave art's really like. No, let's not go there.
No, let's not.
I think we probably best end on that.
I think it was a good note to end on. Thank you, Eric. Okay, my dear. Well,
thank you,
everybody, in a while.
Thank you for that laughter. That vision. I'm not going to lose that picture of Eric for a while. Thank you, as always, for everyone for joining us. And take care. We will see you all soon.
We will.